ask you, how much time do you...
Whoa, 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 whoa. I'm Rodd Duff from Insights and Straight Talk. And with that, folks, I am out.
Hey, everybody, how you doing? So, as you know, this is Rodd Duff and Emma Lynn. Gonna have a little bit of an opening monologue here just to set up today's show, because people talk about the generation gap like it's a wall, something that's built between us that divides us, young from old, tech from tradition, and tomorrow from yesterday. But I've learned that the gap isn't a wall at all. It's a window. A window we climb through if we're willing to see what's on the other side. And more importantly, to see each other again. When I was 16, life looked different. My world ran on grit, grease, and getting it done. My first job was earned with a handshake and a promise. Show up, work, keep your word. That was our currency. We didn't have Wi-Fi or apps. We had pride in what we built, in what we stood for, in how we carried our name. Now I look at my granddaughter, Emma Lynn, 16 years old, and her world runs at lightning speed. Her tools are digital, her classrooms are online, and her first job might be designing content, coding, or running a side hustle before she even finishes high school. The pressures are different now. They're faster, louder, they're always on. But when you strip away the noise, the core remains the same. She wants what I wanted, what we all wanted: to matter, to belong, to wake up every morning believing her life can make a difference. And that's where generations meet, not in the tools we use, but in the truths we share. What started as a simple family conversation between Emma and me, two voices trying to understand each other, became something bigger. It became voices at the table, a space where teenagers, parents, grandparents, and community leaders come together to talk honestly, openly, about what's working, what's breaking, and how we fix it together. Because the truth is, America doesn't heal from the top down. It heals from the table up. That same heartbeat sparked the Regeneration Project. And an idea born right here out of this show. It's about more than jobs and politics. It's about rebuilding the soul of the middle class. One conversation, one collaboration, one community at a time. It's about handing the mic to both wisdom of age and wonder of youth. Because regeneration doesn't happen when one generation replaces the other. It happens when generations rise together. Whether you're 16 or younger, just finding your footing in a world that sometimes feels really impossible to keep up with. Or 63 and older, wondering if the world still needs what you have to give. Let me tell you something, it does. We need your energy, your ideas, your courage, your experience. We need you to climb through that window. We need you to show up, because regeneration begins the moment we stop saying, that's not my problem, and start saying, that's our promise. I spent decades building things you could touch, machines, systems, businesses. Emma's generation is building things you can't see. Apps, AI, digital connections, both matter. One builds structure, the other builds possibility. You know what? The magic happens when those two meet. When the wisdom of the hands meet the curiosity of the mind. When we listen long enough to realize we're all still learning. And that's what today's show is all about. This exchange between what was, what is, and what's next. From first jobs that taught us value to the futures that demand vision. From front porch talks to Sunday dinners to FaceTime calls and DoorDash meals. From communities built on trust to a world hungry for reconnection. Where to bridge that space to prove that generation gap is not a reason to stop talking. It's the reason we must. Because somewhere between 1975 and 225 lies the heartbeat of America. A heartbeat that depends on both the builders and the dreamers. So tonight we open that window wide. We look across it from 16 to 63, from high school hallways to the long road of retirement. And we see each other again. We remember that wisdom isn't old, it's earned. That purpose doesn't retire, it regenerates. And that every voice at every age matters in the rebuilding of our shared story. Welcome to Insights and Straight Talk with Grandpa Rodd and Emma Lynn. I'm Rodd Duff, and this is Teen Life Then versus Now, from first jobs to finding purpose. Let's open that window. Let's climb through together and start the regeneration right here, right now, standing on a bridge with each other. Hi, Emma.
Hi.
How is your day going?
It's okay.
Okay,
It's
it's
raining.
it's raining, which I like. Oh my God. Wow. Okay, so people are starting to listen to the monologues. We got 100 people on right now.
It's good.
Say hi to everybody, Emma.
Hello.
So tell me about it. I mean, you're in a busy, and we've kind of gone back and forth a little bit. You've gone from really running fast to really running fast with a huge schedule you're piling on yourself. Tell me what you're doing these days right now, right?
Um, I did a little bit of boxing. I didn't do too much because I had work, which I was kind of sad about because I'm trying to get better at
Yep.
boxing, but I did know a little bit because I did used to do it dean, so I knew a little bit on how to do it because before I joined it, so I'm not too bad, but like I'm still getting there. I'm like rolling my hand wraps right now for it too. Um,
Oh, are you going
but
boxing right after this?
no, I'm going to work right after this, but whenever we're on these, I like to roll these because I don't do it if I don't. So like this is like my time to
Ah,
like actually like start doing that. My camera keeps falling. Um, yeah, but I haven't done boxing too much because I had work the days that I had work yesterday, and I went on Monday, and then they were closed on the other day because I go 3 times a week. They were closed on the other day I was supposed to do it, so I kind of had a little bit of a lazy week. But I went to work yesterday. I had work yesterday. Um,
so let's talk about work yesterday. So where are you at in the process? Are you actually in a
I'm
position,
in,
or are you
yeah.
still going through? Okay, what are you doing?
So, well, this week I did computer training, so that was just my little training. And then after my computer
What do you
training,
mean
we
by
had
that? What do you mean by computer training? Like the computer system there, like how to input stuff? What does that mean? What does that
no,
look like?
it's a bunch of basically um like templates where it kind of tells you like the danger and like how to clean up spills and what to do and like
Oh, I got you.
selling alcohol, like it just trains us for that. And then once I was done with that, I was done early, so they I was shadowing somebody doing the cashier, and then I did the cashier for my last like 5 minutes. And then yesterday I Somebody was shadowing me doing the cashier for my first 2 hours, and then I got to be able to do it by myself the rest of my shift. I also have work today too, and it's an 8 hour shift.
Woo! Ooh, that's a big boy one there, right?
Yeah,
When
I'm
you
kind of
start
upset
work,
about it.
why? 'Cause you got to go a whole 8 hours, right?
Yes, and like I have to stand the whole time because
Oh
I'm a
yeah.
cashier. Like
Did,
I can't sit down.
so did they give you a mat? Like, were you on a mat the other day? You know what I mean? One of those mats that kind of soften it, or are you standing straight on hard concrete? Because
Oh
that's
no,
tough.
there's a mat on there. I tripped on the mat.
Oh, you did?
I tripped on the mat. Yeah, but
That's not
the
fun.
the people there are they're really nice. They're really nice and they're talkative, and some of them are just like talking about random things and like politics that I don't really understand sometimes, but
Oh,
I just smile
really?
and nod.
Well,
Yeah, they
you
were
ought to
talking
tell them
about
about this show because we do politics on the show too. Anyway, go ahead.
and then there was one lady who was talking about Epstein, I think, which I don't know who that
Okay,
is. I have no
I
idea who
do.
it is. Yeah, she was
Do
like,
you
"Do you
want to
watch
know?
the?"
Do you want to know the story,
I
or
actually do. I was trying to ask her, but she kept rambling.
okay? So it's really big right now. So Epstein
Mm-hmm.
was put in jail for child trafficking. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
he's a very he was very is well he was he's dead now. I'll tell you why. The Epstein files are a big deal right now because um, it it's another attack against Trump. And
Mm-hmm.
hear me out, because you talked about politics. You know, our country's very divided. You know that, right? I mean,
Yeah.
when I say divided, it's like the left versus the right versus, hey, let's
Yeah.
get in the middle and figure something out.
Yeah.
And that all happens through the media as an extended arm of one party or the other. Neither one's necessarily right. They should all be in the middle, which is where we all sit. But my point is that about, God, how long ago was that now? I don't remember exactly. It's probably been, maybe it's been as long as 10 years, maybe more like 5, that he died in prison. He died suddenly. It's a weird story, but he got caught and then convicted of child trafficking and really bad things. He has this island that people used to go to where young girls.
I heard that about that island.
Okay, so that's the core of it, but it's out
Mm-hmm.
now because the Democratic Party, and by extension, the CNNs, the MSNBCs, the NBC, the different news medias on the left, and you know, Fox, and there's a number of others that are on the right, and they spew the same stuff that only supports one party or the other. So
Mm-hmm.
what I'm saying is that, and I don't know what she was talking, or I assume it was she, I don't know, she or he was talking at your work, is that these files, the Republican Party keeps trying to get these files out because it'll tell everybody who was involved. Literally, there's flight logs, there's names, there's this, there's victims, there's that, and and what's happening right now, which is really bizarre, is just one of these other attacks on the system. One party trying to overturn the other. So a liberal judge, and I'm not, I'm serious. I'm in the middle, so I'm not promoting Trump or the Republicans, but it's a very liberal judge appointed originally by Obama is blocking the release of those files. The Republicans have voted to release the files because they
Why
know,
do, why doesn't he want to do that?
because what's happening is the midterms are coming up. This is a very deep political discussion, so I appreciate you asking and wanting to know. But what they're, it's a tool, okay? What they're doing is this judge has blocked the files from being released,
Mhm.
and and then the folks on the left are getting in front of the cameras and saying, why won't they release the files? Why won't they release the files? But the Republican Party, they went to the floor yesterday and said, let's just do a bill, bring it onto the floor, and let's vote it out, and let's get them out there.
Mm.
Everybody in the Republican Party voted yes. Everybody on the Democratic Party voted no. Because I'll tell you, there's going to be a lot of people that are going to be exposed, both in Hollywood and in politics. If you look at Joe Biden, for instance, his history, and you see a lot of stuff that's in video captures of him, he's fondling girls. And back then, he probably, I have no idea what's happening now, but
I mean,
he literally,
same with Trump though, no?
no, there you go, you hit it right there. That's the message they're trying to do. Trump is never. Look at the comparisons, and again, I might be
Well,
wrong about this,
did
but
you see the way that he was talking about his daughter?
did you know that Joe Biden uh, uh, was in a shower with his daughter? How was he talking about his daughter? Because maybe I'm wrong. I don't know
No, I'm not
everything.
saying that like Joe Biden didn't do anything wrong, but like
Okay, but Trump,
I
what
think
did
that
he
like
say?
Trump is also kind of weird.
Well,
Um,
he's not a perfect guy, no doubt about it.
I
I
mean,
totally
yeah, but like he was just talking about like how amazing his daughter's figure was and how like if that wasn't his daughter, he would date her.
So is this a video thing that you saw?
Yeah, it
Oh,
was in an
well, that's
interview. There's multiple. If you look it up, you can look up like Trump's interviews with his daughter, and there's like multiple like things where
what,
he's like,
which daughter? He's got a bunch of them.
I
Is it
don't
the
know
one
the
that
name.
works with him now, the blonde that's really
I'm
smart,
pretty sure. Yeah.
and I think she's married to Kretschner, the guy that just did the
I don't know too much about like the family or none of that, but I'm pretty sure she was blonde.
she's very blonde. She's
Yeah.
platinum blonde.
Yeah.
She's not strawberry blonde. Come on, you should laugh at that. We just I just got thoroughly
That's such a
embarrassed last week.
stray.
No, I had to use it. But okay, I kind of remember. So I'll check it out. I promise I will,
Yeah.
because I've actually heard that before. It's so frustrating right now. And before we were lied to by politicians. None of this is new. And when I say
Was
before, I mean going back to Walter Cronkite and so forth. Go ahead. What were you saying?
wasn't Trump really close with Epstein?
So yes, but he also has been working with the prosecutors prior to all this to give evidence that put Epstein in jail. So there's
Yeah,
this.
because the lady that was like at the cashier, like she kept talking about it, and then she was like, "Yeah, and Trump too, and like that was his best friend, like yada yada
I
yada."
wouldn't go
And I
with
was
that.
just like, "Wow,
You got to remember something. Trump's been in the media for his whole life. I
yeah,
mean, he knows everybody.
yeah,
And Epstein, while he is this and now dead under really weird circumstances, supposedly he hung himself somehow. But
mhm,
but and he was under suicide watch, so supposedly people were there. It's a whole thing. I think it's a I think it's a deeper thing than that. But there's Trump. Trump has pictures standing next to Epstein, but you got to remember, everybody in Hollywood stood next to Epstein. He's was one of the
yeah,
most powerful, people in the Hollywood world. So
mhm,
that I'm not surprised about. The discussion of him with, I think, what is her name, Malia or something like that. Really, actually, a very intelligent woman, but but that's aside from the point. Um, so what happens is the media only tells certain sides of stories, and then they they flat out lie. And I'm not saying one side or the other. I'm saying that's what media is today. It's not a factual discussion. It's a promotion to whatever arm of the political party spectrum they're on, and it's frankly it's disgusting, and it's so discouraging to try and get real truths out, because you could go to one channel, hear that story,
mhm,
and then go to the opposite channel and hear that story with the exact opposite spin. It's a
mhm.
constant thing, and it's frustrating because it's so hard actually know what truth is today.
Mhm.
Was that on point at all in there? Do you know a little bit more about Epstein now?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
good. Okay, okay, okay.
Yes.
I'm happy
I
about that.
answered my question.
Oh man,
Yes, that's true.
that,
Give me an E high five.
boop.
There you go.
Oh, that was well timed too.
We're very bad with doing well time too.
I think we're on a bit of a roll here, though. So before we get into questions, and there's already 3 or 4 coming up here, as you can see in the scroll. I've started putting that on the scroll too. Can you see those on
I
your screen?
can't I can see them, but for me my screen
Can't.
is a little bit more zoomed out, so like I would have to zoom in to actually read them.
Okay, but I mean, when we start rocking and rolling, you'll be able to see that.
Yeah,
I know I can't
I can
see
see them
them.
myself. Like I
Okay,
can go in and look at them.
on the side, are you seeing the comments on the side?
I can see the comments on two sides right now,
Yep.
but like for me, I have a bunch of things on my screen. So it zooms it out so I can't read them, but if I click on the three dots and go to comments, I can read them.
Okay. Well, I'll tell you what. Why don't you take the comments today? But before we get to them,
Okay.
if you don't mind, so you're in another. So in the opening monologue, I talked about, and we talked about quite a bit, how fast this world moves, right? In this digital world, and
Yeah.
everything's going, and teenagers, like for me, I can't imagine. And this has been growing, so it isn't like it was 2000, what did I say, 2017 to 2025. um no, that's not right. 1975 to 2075. It's been a growing thing where, like, your father, my kids, were getting a little busier.
Hmm.
And that's just kind of what's evolved. But now you're doing, what are the different, in addition to this show, which you dedicate at least an hour every week, so that takes time, obviously. But in addition to that, how much of your life now, because there's work, school, so on and so forth, go through, how much is being taken up? How much free time do you have these days where you just sit and gel?
I think I do have a lot of free time because there is
Okay,
things
good.
that I have been lagging on. I It's kind of like it's more of the fact that I like the times that they schedule me for work is the times that I'm scheduled for boxing. So like,
Right.
and I have to go to work over boxing. So like that's the frustrating thing. But usually when I don't have both and I do have free time, I'll decide myself to go to the gym. Um, and I still have a bunch of other things that I need to do. My mom wants to put me in math tutoring, so like that's gonna be another thing added to my list.
That's what I'm saying.
Um,
Is that the
yeah,
Saturday thing you and I were talking about over the last
yeah,
day or so? Okay.
yeah, because everybody was talking about it's called Rise, and one of my friends was like, "Are you gonna go?" And I checked what teachers are there and for what classes, but all the classes, like I have all A's except for an F and a math. So like that's the only grade
Ouch.
that I need to get out. Um, but all
Why do you
the
think you have an F in math? Before we go on, why do you think you have this
um,
isn't a parent thing. That's not my job. But I'm
okay,
just curious. So you got all A's and then math, and that's not uncommon, by the way.
yeah.
So what is it about math that you aren't dialed into, or isn't clicking, or what math is it, first of all?
I'm in math three.
Okay, which is algebra. I don't know what the
Mhm.
trigonometry. What I don't know what they.
Algebra.
Okay, okay. So
Um,
you're math free.
I've never been good at math. I've always like
I get it.
really, really badly struggled with it. And I
I get
think
it.
that like me moving, like when I would move a lot, it would like I feel like every school that I moved to, they were always like ahead in math. And it kind of got to a point where
Uh,
like so I'd always get frustrated and I didn't understand. And then I would move again. And then I kind of just like gave up on trying to like learn it because I was already so behind in so many things that like if I kept trying to learn it, I was just gonna keep it was just a whole thing. So I kind of just started learning how to cheat on my math stuff. And
we're
that's the only
lucky.
reason.
you just threw that out to almost 300 people.
I have to be honest. Like, I'm not gonna say like
Absolutely.
because I got a good grade. Like, I had such a good grade last year, and it was because my teacher literally did. He let us do tests at home. Like, he didn't care. So it was like,
Wow.
yeah. So like, it wasn't like I had like a B in that class the whole year, but like my freshman year was like terrible. But it's like my teacher's really, really like he's so on it, and especially with me, like he's so like
This year, this right now,
yes, yes, like he has beef with me. I don't know what it is. And
probably
then
because
like
he cares about you. I mean, he probably sees something in you. You know,
no, he's
like,
so rude. Like he's just so rude. Like my
give me an example. Yeah, without
okay,
being too off the wall, but give me an example what you're saying.
like he assumes that I'm cheating the times that I'm not. And he's never caught me cheating. He's never caught me doing none of that. He's constantly trying to take my phone when I'm not on my phone. Like I literally wasn't on my phone and he tried to take it from me. He was like, "Give me your phone." And I was like, "For what?" And he was like, "Give me your phone." And I was like, "No." Like I'm
Oh,
no. And he was like, "So I'm going to call security." And I was like, "I'm not going to give security my phone either. Like I'm sitting here staring at the floor. Like what do you want me to do?" And like he's constant like he's just I don't know, like I just don't understand the way that he teaches literally at all. And I'll try
you
to
guys
ask
talk to
like,
each other?
huh?
Have you guys talked to each other about this? Have you said, "Hey, look,
Yeah.
Mr.
Well,
So and
because
so"?
in the beginning in the year, he made me do an assignment that I wasn't there for, but he wanted something in the grade book, I guess, for me. So he was like, "It's gonna be late, but just let me know when you're done with it." And it was like 10 pages. And he was like, "Just let me know when you're done with it." I was like, "Okay." But then he was assigning other pages. So I was trying to finish that page and then the other pages that he was assigning. So other things got late. And I told him it was after like a little bit over a week. And I was like, "Hey, I finished all these things. Like I had to, finish this and then I had to do this other work. And I've been trying to get on head on all my other classes on top of that because I just came here. Like I have to get situated."
Junior year, right? Your junior
Yeah,
year.
yeah, and it was because I came in late, so I had to get like on my classes. And he was like, "It's late, you can't turn it in." Even the assignment that he told me to do that was late, he wasn't letting me turn it in. And I was like, "But you told me to do it." On top of that, it's a bunch of pages, and then I have five other classes that I have to pay attention to. And I finished it, I did the work, I just wasn't able to do it on time because of what you had me do before I could do the other things that you assigned. And he wasn't letting me, so I had to send an email to my counselor and I sent an email to him. And then he finally took my notebook. He never graded them. He said he was going to grade them. He never graded them. He graded about two of them, which it was like three. He didn't grade the original. He didn't even grade two. He hasn't graded any of my stuff. I was confused on how to turn things in because when he asked for my work, he took my notebook. He didn't ask for me to submit it online. So I thought he was going to ask for our notebook pages because that's what my teacher last year did. So it made sense to me. And I asked him, "Hey, when are you going to take our notebook pages for all these things and all these pages? Because like it's kind of piling up." And he was like, "You were supposed to turn them in." I was like, "You didn't tell me that. So can you look at them?" And he was like, "No, you didn't turn them in. You can't submit them. I'm not grading them." And I was like, "But you didn't tell me that. Like nobody told me this. You literally took my notebook and you still have my notebook. Like, I thought that's what you do. You look at the notebook, you do notebook checks because that's what my old math teacher did. And he took my notebook. So I assumed that he never said turn it in online. And then, so my missing assignments just kept piling up,
And what's
basically.
especially in math, that's a tough thing to overcome. I mean,
Yeah.
it's a continuation. Hold on just a second. I do want to give a shout out before I forget to the Mangum
Hmm.
City Library because you know how much they do for us here
Yeah.
in this program. It's very exciting. We got 300 people on. Please subscribe and like this episode as always. Um, so have you gone to the counselor or anything about that about this or is
Yes. I tried to move my classes, but I came too late that like I couldn't move my class. She said that I could try next semester to move my class. Um,
so when are you starting tutoring?
I don't know. My mom told me about it yesterday because we had a test and I didn't do the test. I kind of just drew on my paper.
That doesn't help your case.
Okay, but I didn't know what to do. I didn't understand it. So like it was either draw on my paper or sit and stare at the floor. Like I didn't know what to do. I did the questions that I knew, the only questions that I did know. And then after that I kind of just sat there and I was like, okay, well I'm just gonna draw on my paper. Like I don't know what else to do.
You know,
But
that's a humiliating moment in your own head. Because I've been there. I've been there a bunch where I'm looking at something going, I have no freaking idea what this answer is, and that answer, and that answer, and that answer. And that's what you're talking about, right?
yes, it was so annoying. But yeah, so my mom was like, we need to figure out when the math tutoring days are so you could go.
So you're going to be adding that to your schedule at some point.
Yeah.
But that should hopefully will be a good thing. How much time is left in this semester for you for this class?
2 months.
Okay, well, you can maybe run through it, hopefully.
Was kind of less than 2 months. I think it ends on my Christmas break. Christmas December's next month, right?
Yeah, sure
So
is.
it's like a month or a little bit over a month, but
Wow.
I don't know. If he graded all the things that I have turned in recently, I feel like my grade would go up to a D, but he like is just not grading them. So
That's
I
a
don't
tough
know.
spot, man. And that doesn't help you towards college either, right? So
Yeah.
so why don't we kick in a little bit here? I know there was more you were going to talk about. Is there any more you want to talk
Mm.
about on this before we? Because there's a lot of questions.
Okay, I'll get started on
Why
this.
don't you take them? Yeah, why don't you take them?
Okay. Dixon said, "Do you think that teenage life is more stressful than before?" Um, I don't know. I don't know how teenage life was like in the 90s. I feel like it might be equal stressful. Our lives are just like different and it's like different like I don't want to put like my struggles over other people's struggles or like make my struggles seem higher and make it like a challenge. But like I feel like it's equal because you guys had your guys' own things where you guys didn't have Wi-Fi and it kind of like disrupted things and a lot of things are like harder to do or harder to reach out. It's easier to reach out, but it's like harder to get a response
I'm going to chuckle a little bit. Um, you just said in the 90s.
in the
In the
90s.
90s, I was 30.
Oh, oopsies. Wait. Okay, I was thinking
Oh,
about when my parents
say
were
the
teenagers.
70s. Yeah,
I was
exactly.
thinking
Your
of when my
parents.
parents were
True.
teenagers. Okay,
And,
the
and
70s. Sorry.
I was no, no, no. I just no, no apology whatsoever. What needed? What I meant by that is just it brings up this whole discussion of today. The generations, the gaps. And for you, the '90s is a long time ago, which I get it. Your parents are let's see. Actually, they were born.
They're
They were both born in the
millennials.
they were both born in the 80s, so in their teenage years they were in their 90s. So yeah, now I'm a generation back from that, obviously, you know
Hmm.
in the 70s. Um so yeah, and I would agree with you that certain although the landscape, whether no matter what generation we're talking about, your parents, me, you yourself, or younger even, probably not, because the stresses of life don't really start until you're in your kind of teenage years, right? You agree with that?
Yeah.
So the landscape was different, but there were some differences that the struggles or the stressfulness
Yeah, I
was.
feel like the stressful, like the things that are causing stress are like different. Like they're just different things. But I don't think that like being a teenager now is more stressful because they're different. I just think it's like equal, but it's like different circumstances.
And causes and reasons.
Yeah.
But I also think I'll disagree with you a touch, because I think it just starts a little sooner. Stress, the things that are stress, probably start with over the last few years. When you add work and school, those two things are stressful. right? I mean, because they're adding challenge to your life in a life you're not used to yet. You're
Well, when
learning.
did my dad get his first job?
Let me try and think what his first job was.
Well, like how old was he?
That's what I'm trying to think. I don't think because of sports. I don't think your dad. Now Brandon started with the whole computer. You know, Brandon's way ahead of the game with computers. He used to be. He had a side gig like you do with the cakes.
Hmm.
But what he did is he used bots to build up characters in in games and then sell them. He sold. He had one that was really high. God, we're at four. We have 400 people on here. He had built up this and sold it for $600. Now keep in mind that was what would that be? That would be like 20 years. No, almost 30 years ago. No, he's in high school. A little over 20 years ago. Austin and him both played sports. And I'm kind of trying to think what his first thing was, but it was definitely I think more towards 18ish than 16ish. Now ask him. I may be totally wrong and just blanking out on this. My first job was when I was 12. I started at my mom's store. Well, a store she worked for. I used to. God, this is a disgusting image, but I used to ride my bike from school to the mall. She was in the music industry selling pianos and organs and that. They had in the mall. They had this place where the pianos and organs were and all that. But that was back when they smoked. So I used to clean out the ashtrays and empty the
Is
trash.
that Mo's music?
Yeah, no. That was my mom's first job in music. Mo's Fullerton Music was 20 years of building her career, maybe 30 years of
Did you
building
ever
her
work
career.
there?
Did I ever work at Mo's Music?
Yeah.
A lot. Yeah, absolutely. I helped her open it up. I
I
mean, I
wanted
didn't open
to
it.
work there.
I know. It was a very special place. And by the way, I got contacted on Instagram by a musician. Who we can't talk about yet, but um, because of that background, he wants to come on the show and do some stuff together. Because our families comes from a lot of music in the
Yeah.
history because of mom. I mean, that's all because of mom. Your
Yeah. We
grandma,
have we have one of her
your
pianos.
great grandma. Yeah. Oh,
Yeah, we
you
have one of
do?
her pianos. Yeah, and then
Aw.
he he gave me when they were cleaning out the store and when they went into the new one, he had gave me a clarinet too because he found out that I was like in band, and that was the time when I was in
Oh.
middle school and I was playing band, so he had gave me a clarinet, and we also have his piano. My cat always jumps on it to like get
Where's
to
it?
the kitchen. Huh?
Where's it? Was the last time I was there? Was it there then?
Yeah.
When did you get? Oh yeah, I saw it. No, I saw it.
Yeah.
It's right by that dining
Yeah.
room table there thing up at the.
Yeah, we've had it for a few years now. We've had it
Yeah.
for a while. Because I remember for one of the Christmases they gave us like a card and it was like free piano card.
Oh wow, that's very cool. Is
Yeah.
that Papa, Grandpa Roger?
Yeah. Yeah.
And unfortunately, I don't even know what's happening with that. The store's obviously gone. I think they
Yeah.
moved to a smaller location, and
I
then
think it's getting shut down.
it's already shut down. As far as I heard, I nobody will tell me anything over there. So I don't know exactly, but I have been told by many of the teachers, all the people in the company, they always kept me up to speed on what was happening. Why? Nobody knows. I don't know. They don't know. But
The money.
okay, but the going to the smaller store, why? I don't know. I don't know. So I don't even know what's happening with that. I assume now empty building, or are they renting it out, or do you know?
I'm pretty sure he had rented it out, but
Okay.
there was a lot of people that weren't coming in, so he wasn't getting a lot of customers and he just couldn't really have the funds for it, so he kind of had to shut it down. And there was a whole drama situation with one of the workers there. I think his name was Robert. It started with an R. He
Think he's
they
the
found out
who's
that
the
he
manager.
was, yeah, they found out that he was like taking money or something like that.
Yeah. Yeah,
So it
that
was
can be
also like a
devastating.
whole other thing. And my parents were trying to like help him for a while when they first moved in the store, but then they started planning like shutting it down. So,
Yeah, he
you know,
was helping them at the other store, the original store.
my
Yeah,
dad.
your dad used to do a lot.
Yeah,
He
and
and
then
I
when they
talked
moved
all the
into
time
the
back then. I'm
when
sorry,
they
go ahead.
moved in oh sorry. When they moved into the new one, he was like we would go over there and they would help like set everything up, and they would have these meetings that my dad would go to and stuff like that just to like figure everything out.
Right. Yeah, I remember they went through that process for a little bit. So let's go on to Jason here.
Okay. How can families communicate better across generations?
It's a good question, Jason.
Um,
Well, first of all, do you think families do in general? Because we talk about this a lot with parents, and now
mhm.
we're just expanding on that, kind of pulling me into it. But across generations, things change. And how do you think, first of all, that that it does happen, and or should it more?
I think that every family's like different, and I think, well,
Right.
I don't know, like I can't speak for other
What
families.
about your friends? Your friends. I mean, do you see things
They
and see that?
communicate. It's like like those situations where there's like communication in some areas, but communication in not. It's just different for everybody. Like they have communication in some areas, and some areas there's not communication and stuff like that.
Yeah, last week we're going through some of those statistics.
Hmm.
Remember?
Yeah.
And in some of those statistics,
Mhm.
you and I saw some unusual things. Like they'll go to parents over their friends if they're having mental health issues and stuff. It was very close, but there's that. And then while there's communication between parents and their children, their kids, their teenagers, especially, let's just stay with teenagers because I think that's the area that things really start to open up. The onion gets peeled open. But there was this one study that, while, what are you chuckling at? Did I say something?
I don't know. It was just a funny like
Oh, the
uh
onion.
yeah, I don't know. I just haven't heard somebody use that as a figure of speech before.
Oh, really? That's a thing from my generation. That's
I've
actually something.
literally never heard that before.
Ask your parents. I bet you they'll get it. But uh, when teenagers, that's when things start to open up. You peel
Mhm.
the onion, the layers of the onion back, and and um, now I forgot my point.
I would say it's like a flower, but
It's a what?
like a flower. A flower sounds better.
That's
Like a
true.
flower blooming.
Well, a flower blooming, but in an onion, or a number of other things, but you have layers,
Right,
right?
but for a flower to bloom, it also has layers. So slowly it opens.
Okay,
And
that's a
slowly you're able to
okay.
see like
I'm
the
gonna try and use that one better, more every time. Try and use that
It
one
sounds
every.
more nice than an onion. Like an onion sounds, I don't know. I just don't like onions.
I love
I
onions.
hate onions. They're so nasty. It's
Really? What,
gross.
you've obviously tasted it. Damn, there's a wasp in here. Holy cow!
Oh,
Yeah, that's weird. Um, but have you ever eaten, like, I don't like grilled onions, but I like fresh onions.
that's so weird. People
Just onions.
usually say they like fresh, they don't like fresh onions, but they like fried ones. How That's
Yeah,
weird. That's so
I
weird.
don't like
I don't like
grilled
the
onions are
texture
boring.
of them.
Yeah,
I don't like the texture of them at all.
your great granddad, so mom's grandma, Mo's husband that birthed me and Tammy, right? Uh,
Mm-hmm.
she had five of them, but that's another story. Roger was just the last, and so um, he would actually take an onion, put a little salt on it, and a raw onion. He would eat it like an apple.
People
I
do that
know.
with tomatoes. They put salt on it and then they eat them. But
Yeah, I slice them and then do salt. All right, so what do we got here? Let's go on to David.
okay. What advice would you give your younger self after hearing this? Like hearing what exactly?
So after like hearing, remember the people that are coming on here have kind of been reading, and
Yeah.
that's a shallow, not a shallow, but not a full of information question.
Yeah, like
Um,
I don't know. I need like something to like
so
leave
I
with.
would say I would build into what David's saying here. Um, what would you tell your younger self if you were hearing this episode about communication across the generations? As in other words, the generation gap isn't a wall; it's a window for us to climb through and listen to. If you were if as we have this conversation, what would you tell your and knowing this, what would you tell your 5 year, I don't know, 5, 6, 7 year old self? Anything younger than that, it would just be lost. But what would you tell yourself about, because the assumption here with David, I assume, is that this is a
Like
conversation that,
communication?
correct.
Okay. I feel like I would tell my younger self like that every like to stop being so angry and like everybody's different and not everybody's gonna
Whoa,
understand
whoa, whoa,
you.
whoa, stop right there before you go on. Stop being so angry
I
about, well,
I feel like I had a hard time expressing myself, and when
okay,
I did, I would get upset and I felt like not a lot of people understood me. But at the end of the day, nobody does really truly understand you because everybody's different. Like you're not gonna have the same mindset as somebody else. Everybody's different. So it's never nobody's gonna ever truly understand what like you're going through. So it's kind of you have to be there
exactly.
for yourself. You can't expect other people to be there for you or understand the way you're feeling. You have to be there for yourself. And if you're communicating and somebody's not understanding it or somebody thinks you're wrong, that doesn't like just because you think you're right doesn't mean that person is wrong. It's like you look at like we're facing towards each other and we're looking down at the floor and to me it's a 6 but to you it's a 9, you know? So it's like everybody sees things differently. Just because you're right doesn't mean I'm wrong. Just because I'm right doesn't mean you're wrong.
That's that is so above your years and
But
beyond
I
your
don't think my
years.
younger self would even like understand that.
Yeah.
I don't
Well,
even think
but
I
you
don't
would
even
know
think
you,
like
but you would know how to communicate it, wouldn't you? So it's like we hear about, and we talk about in the show a lot and some of the other
uh-huh.
lanes, but you look through life through your own lens. Nobody is the same. Um,
Hmm.
your uncle talks about, we live in different worlds. Totally, everybody on
What
Earth lives
uncle?
a Brandon.
Chris?
Um,
Oh,
no, no. Um, uh, we look through the world through our eyes and our experiences. So everything, like you use the example of looking at the floor. I'm
right.
basing that 9 on what I've experienced before,
Right.
and so that was a very insightful reflection that you just said there. I'm very impressed.
Thank you.
You're very welcome. Let me see. I think I want to bring. Yes, they did.
It was probably
Okay.
from something we were talking about earlier.
It had to be. I'm trying to think what.
I saw the
Virgil,
comment
could
when we
you
were
build on
talking
that?
about.
Oh,
Well,
go ahead. Go ahead.
I,
You saw it when. Go ahead.
I
What?
saw it when we were talking about Epstein and like Trump and all that.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. So that's. I wonder what side of that. So yes, they did. Yes, they did. I don't know where to go with that one. Virgil, can you expand on that before if we get? Whoop! I just lost her. Oh, I hear you.
Hello?
What was that? That was weird. Your picture went away, but I could hear you go.
Because my screen is being all weird and I'm trying to get these things out of the way because I can't like go into the comments if I want to. And I clicked on something and then it like made my screen go weird.
Gotcha. All
But
right.
yeah, it
So
was something about Epstein.
yeah, I
Okay.
don't know, but that was a pretty long conversation. I'm trying to remember. Yes, they did. That's probably true, but I don't know what aspect he's referring to there. So if you could expand, Virgil, I appreciate it.
Do
Go ahead.
you think technology helps or hurts teens develop today?
You
Develop.
had this question last week, some very similar question, not from David, somebody else.
Yes. I think that it could do both. That's what I said last time too. I think that it depends on you and the way that like you see it or the side of social media or like technology that you're on. I think that it's very, very helpful, but it can also be really, really stressful if you don't know how to use it right.
Yeah, and you know, there's a theme in what you're answering or how your answers are being worded.
Hmm.
The theme being it comes from the inside out. Everybody's different. What we
Yeah.
just were talking.
I don't know because
Everybody's
I
different.
don't like to make assumptions on how everybody is. So it's kind of like, well, I know how I am, but I don't know how like 500 other people are, or even 10 other people are. So it's like, I can't really speak for other people. But I think technology for me, I mean, it helped me get a job. So it was
How did
stressful at first, but
how did it help you get a job?
I was able to apply on there. I was able to do my interview online and I was able to, and I'm also able to get daily payments if I feel like I want to get daily payments after one of my shifts. I'm able to see all my
Really?
accounts
You can
through the
get
app.
payments?
Yes, it's called My Daily Pay, which I actually just got paid, but I wasn't able to see how much I got. Um, but yeah,
Wow.
so you can get daily payments. It's basically to help you kind of not be as stressed. You know, if you're low on money, you can just get the daily payments right after your shift. You can go on the app and you can get that direct deposit. I need to switch my account though because my money goes to my mom right now.
Yeah, and so you're going to open up your own account, right?
I have my own account, but it's been there since I was little, so like it's restricted on it, so I can't take money out of it. I can't like have money on it. It's like weird the way it's set up. So we need to fix that so that I can change the account to my account and then I can start getting my money.
You're starting that whole process now, that grown up world, managing your money, receiving and spending budgets, all
Yeah.
that stuff.
Well, I'm doing good with it so far. Like I'm going to save my money. I really, really want to get a Mercedes or a Miata. So I do want to save for that.
Well, that's
And
two different cars.
I know. I know there's two different cars, but I like both of the cars. I don't know which one I want yet, but those are like the two that I'm thinking of. I know Miatas are less expensive than a
And
Mercedes.
what kind of Mercedes? What model? Because the
Uh,
Miata is a little car. It's typically what do you call it?
a convertible. Yeah.
Convertible, right? Yeah, little
Yeah.
car, right?
Yeah, it's a little car. Well, Mercedes, like, they're,
There's different models,
yeah, I wanted like a C class, like, I've
like the
been
300.
looking, yeah, I've been looking at the C Class 300. Those are nice. I
They are.
like the ones with the bigger screens, but those ones are like the newer ones that cost a lot. And the ones with the older screens, it's like weird and like rectangular, so I don't like that. Yeah,
That's
it's
how it
like
started.
it's weird. So like the newer ones, I like the way they look.
Yeah, that's that technology growing and advancing.
Yeah.
All right,
But
David,
hopefully
great question.
I can do
Go ahead.
that. Okay. Next question. Chris said, "What's the biggest difference between growing up then versus now?" I think that's more of a question for you.
For me,
Yeah.
so and it's similar to what was asked very early on. I don't remember which one it was, but um, I think the biggest difference is now is well, Well, obviously, technology is a big difference. The access to information is a big difference. The bullying that happened then versus now is either just in the playground, although it also happens in the playground at your age. There's entire fight channels that are kids fighting, and you talked about that. That's mainly what people watch on TikTok or something, right? Remember
Yeah.
one of our early shows, you had talked about that. Now all of a
Yeah.
sudden I'm getting out of nowhere. I don't know why, whatever I did to the algorithm, but now, like in the last 2 days, I've gotten all these these kids fighting videos. I'm like, I don't care about that. But but, I think the difference is, everything's more global. In last week's discussion in the monologue, we talked about right now I compared myself to the people in my neighborhood. Maybe somebody had a nicer clothes. My parents didn't have the money to get nicer clothes or whatever for me, so there was that comparison. Maybe somebody had the cool teenage car, and I did. So those were the comparisons, but they were very localized, obviously, right? I mean, when I was growing up, there were only three channels. It was NBC, CBS, and ABC, and that was it. That was and I actually lived when we or a couple of people in our neighborhood were the first ones to get color TV, and uh, and and had black and white before that. And my dad's generation, meaning your grandpa, your grandma's, no, great grandpa, um, he was in a generation when he was a kid, they had radio. That was all they had was radio, was the TV of today. And then as they got older, they went into the TV with the big ears coming out and try and make it where it wasn't all fuzzy. So, the whereas your comparisons, you could actually be within a click. You're comparing yourself to somebody that's lived in France, for instance. I mean, there's that kind of world that's much smaller now because of the world you live in versus the world I live in. I think that's the
Mhm.
biggest difference, right?
Yeah. That
All
must be
right, now
crazy to see like all that happen because you went from like black and white TV to like what we have now.
I
That's
have, yeah.
crazy.
Well, you know what? My great aunt. I don't know if it's two greats or one great. I was she was still alive when I knew her. Um, she was an awesome lady, but she went across the west. She lived to be 104, a
Wow.
centurion. She went across the west in a covered wagon as a baby. Okay,
Hmm.
hear that right? You've heard that in the history books, right?
Yeah.
Before she died, she saw the first space shuttle go up.
Spaceship?
Space shuttle. Do you know what a space shuttle is, Emma?
What
Oh,
the
come
heck?
on. Oh my God, are you kidding me? You don't know what a space shuttle is? So you know how Elon is doing the spaceships, and now he's working to send us to Mars.
It's
Okay, you
it's
know
like
about that.
the it's not like an airplane. It's the thing that goes up like that.
That's a rocket ship or a spaceship, right? That goes straight up. Um, the first one version of that was used to start going to the space station that's up there and up in the space. We have a big, huge space station that circles the Earth. Has been for decades. I mean, it was a joint thing between Russia and us. Um, but the space shuttle was used to cargo people back and forth to that place, um, the space station, and it sat on the back of a plane, and it would, in the beginning, the plane would take off with it, and then the plane would pull away and the space shuttle would take off. And it was this big white. Look it up on your thing. um, I'll,
Do you
I'll be looking up Trump's interview about his daughter, and,
okay? Do
and
you wanna
look up the space shuttle.
do you wanna knock out the two last questions? Cause I need to start getting ready for work.
You got it.
Okay.
Okay, right there. So this one's for, it's actually three questions. So let me go
Oh,
fast. Ronald, which insight from Emma do you relate to? Well, actually, let's do that. I'll skip that. You
okay.
do yours. How do you think AI will, oh, no, you read it. This
Okay.
is you.
Okay. How do you think AI will change teens' careers in the next decade?
That's
Um,
a great question.
I think that if it is used right, the jobs are using it right, then it could really help teens with it. I think that a lot of people can make programs. There was a program, it was called like American Job Center, and they would help teenagers get jobs, but they weren't able to have the funds for it. So it they can't unless like your parents are on like SNAP or EBT.
There's a, there's the LEAP program that does exactly what you're talking about. You know about
Yeah.
that. Go on, go on.
Yeah. So people are doing programs like those to help it. So I feel like if technology is used right, it can help. And if it's not used right, then it kind of just is useless. Um,
Yeah.
because yeah,
Or
some people have like their
defeat it.
stuff posted, like, and they're like, oh, like careers we're hiring, and then you apply, and then it's like, it's
Nothing
kind of
there.
just nothing. So I feel like it just depends if, they're using it correctly.
All right. Last question for you, and I'll come back to you, Adventure Show, because I've got
Mhm.
some stuff to add to that as well. Go
Okay.
ahead.
Is the pressure on teens today too high compared hold on. Is the pressure on teens today too high compared to past generations? I said I feel like it's
Similar
equal,
but
but
better question, I think, than
yeah,
some of the others.
I feel like it's equal because there's a lot of struggles then and there's a lot of struggles now, but it's just different situations. It's just a different life. But I feel like you could talk more on that because you kind of like are seeing both through. Like I don't know fully how it was back in the 70s.
Hey, you got it. You got it. All right, my girl. So get ready. Tell everybody hi. There's still in the 300s, or
Hmm.
typically it starts dropping off after an hour. You stayed a long time. I appreciate that. I appreciate your time.
Yes.
I'll give you a call a little bit later. I want to chat with you about a couple of things,
All
and
right.
and give a final thought and give a big wave.
Um, I'm very bad with final thoughts, and you know that.
You just blocked yourself away from it. I know you've got him there, so I'm
I
helping
don't
you
know,
practice.
like because
I'm just helping you practice.
it's too much of a question where it's like it literally could be like a thousand things, you
All
know?
right. So what do you think of today's show and compared to other shows? Do you think it's similar, the same? Do you like the questions? Do you like the direction that we're kind of heading and not just saying the same thing? What do you think?
I think it's similar. I've heard a few questions that I did last time. Just different wordings.
Sure.
Um, yeah, I the direction is nice. It's we're talking a lot about the internet and how it can help you good and bad. I think it's a good direction.
All right. Well, give everybody a big wave and go make the best of your day today.
Okay, bye guys. Have a good day and like and subscribe to his podcast.
Oh, I love you.
Love you. Bye bye.
Bye. All right. So I want to go back and hit a couple. And I've got only a few minutes left because, as you know, in the Mangum Library here, um, we have a restriction of time to 1 o'clock my time, Central Standard Time. I don't know what all time zones you're in, but I did want to go back to a couple of these because I think there's some. We're talking about a conversation across generations, and so the view, like in my opening, experience is earned, right? It's over time, and you need that experience, but you also need the dreamers, right? And both things are critically important, and both things are at the opposite ends of the scale. Although you should always be a dreamer. Um, so I say that because I really wanted to hit this question. Um, So, what insight from Emma do I realize or relate to the most? And that's an awesome question, Ronald. No, I'm not saying that. Randall, sorry about that, Randall. Dude, I apologize. I'm terrible with names. Um, so there's a number of insights that she has that in my opening monologue, I said, when we started this off, I thought I would be teaching her things. And in reality, she's teaching me to remember, and to refocus and to reestablish communication that comes from both sides. That this isn't a generation gap wall, it's a generation gap window. And her insights to, one thing she says a lot, and I think she'll see over time, she can't speak for other people, which is absolutely true. And we talked about today how we all look through, we all receive messages or things in life because our vision, our decisions, our observations come through a lifetime, however old you are, come through a lifetime of experiences built within your brain, your heart, your soul. I think something we all don't do enough. Let me step back. We have three brains, as you know, and we have the brain of the heart, which is probably the most strongest brain because it's tied with emotion, and then the brain of the gut instinct. Unfortunately, I think too much today, the brain of your heart. So each of these others, including the brain, is just sending signals to your brain of your head to create the chemicals that go out into your body to react however you do, or fire the synapses to do the work of whatever is at that hand at that moment. What we don't do enough, I think we need to use the brain of our heart. And I always say love harder, and this is about love, and absolutely. But when it comes to leading our life, I think not enough of us go to that gut instinct. And it's always there. If something doesn't feel right, or if something feels too good to be true, both of those two things are 100% correct. What happens is we don't listen to that enough, or in a lot of cases even realize it's there, that it's there for us. You got to remember something. We're still human beings. We're still part of the human species, and that has been with us since the days of early on, and that gut instinct either kept us alive or we were eaten by tigers or whatever the case is. Or the enemy was coming. So it's something that's in the human species that we just ignore way too much. And her insights are to me, for a 16, 17-year-old, are far beyond what the average is from my experience. And like she says, I can't speak for everybody, but if you listen, as you're going through that window, if you listen long enough, you begin to gain that experience, and you begin to understand that we're not so different, and that her insights, while maybe unspoken by others, are those same insights. That while there's variations in the way we're brought up, or the way we see the world, or the way the world has treated us, beyond that, 17-year-olds, 16-year-olds are that. They are feeling that. They are experiencing that. Now, a lot of what we talk about is about the family. And so there is that, meaning that family has a great effect on especially these years in your life. And so her insights, while she asterisks them, I think the most important ones are or how that relationship between her and her family are in growing up. And with experience, she'll see that window, that opening, that reality, that fact, that the things she struggles with or are confronted with. I'm not talking about math here, though, in this case, but does include that. Those things are common within society. 70% of all humans, at least in America, I don't know how far that study goes out, but because I can't imagine that the same thing in different, in certain religions, in certain parts of the world, in uncivilized parts of the world, those things are all different, obviously, right? That human society element has either come up through a radically different way or just hasn't developed enough yet to really get into society. So let's talk about Europe and Russia and China and more developed nations. Those nations, those people of those nations, young and old, 70% deal with mental illness or mental disease. That's the scale, right? Mental illness being the most impactful, all the way down to, which is still very impactful, depression and thoughts of suicide. And, in there, you have other social things and elements that are happening now that are also very political. So I won't get into it, but her insights are, to me, the most one I relate to is that when she says, I don't know about everybody else, but to me, this is how I think. And those insights, when spoken, really do relate to me a great deal. And I think there was another one I wanted to jump on a little bit. How do you think AI will change teens' careers in the decade? So yes, she was right. I could build on that more. She built on it. She gave me a platform for which to step up onto and continue to to walk forward on this subject. And it relates to my son, who, by the way, we're gonna have a show together on next Monday. So not this coming Monday, but Mondays, as you know, are the days Barbieisms drop. But on the 24th, he and I are going to do a show together, Brandon, and that show we've done a number of shows together, micro farming, AI, individual aspects of what his generation, Emma's father's generation, Austin, and of course my daughter-in-law, Jessie, and Brandon and Lauren, and that generation, their life is in between Emma's and mine, and all these things we talk about as far as how they grew up and developed. Emma, her generation, well, actually, no, not her generation. Her parents' generation are the last generation to see what I've seen, both ends. In other words, they were here before the internet, or right as the internet was coming in and computers were coming in, and now Emma could have no idea, and I mean literally I've never asked her, but I'm assuming has no idea what dial-up is, dial-up internet, what a home phone is. I saw a thing on social media the other day where this young woman was trying to, and it was side by side, social media sometimes. And there's this older guy kind of laughing while she's doing this because she was trying to explain to, I guess, her audience or whatever her post was, trying to explain what a home phone was. And a home phone, if you remember, those that do, was where you had to share between the family. It had a big long cord, and you answered it at home. It wasn't everywhere you went. Brandon and Austin can relate to, and of course Lauren and Jesse can relate to that. Emma can't. And nothing other than that generational thing. That generation, my children's generation, are the last generation to know when of the life that I led. Not me, my generation led. So that's the point where I want to go now. So she said that AI, depending on how we use it, is could be a good thing or a bad thing. And I agree with her 100%, obviously, and not just because she's my beautiful granddaughter, but AI, the jobs will change, and why I brought up Brandon is, so AI depends on coding, and that's not going to stop because it gets better and better and better, right? I mean, we're just at the beginning of this. Although Google's been around for God, how long? Since dial-up, probably just after dial-up. So 30 years, 20 years. So AI's been around a long time, but now it's becoming commercialized, and there's a whole thing I can get into about that. But the AI jobs there'll be a shift. Instead of necessarily engineers per se, that type of job will have more people going into. So when you create code, humans do it now, and it takes time. He gave me an example where a bot can do what a human can do in seconds, minutes, or hours versus days, weeks, or months. Same job, because they're not smarter. They're not near as smart as the human brain, but AI bots are having basically an unlimited storage capacity for data and details. And that's why it's such a valuable tool. In this, it's very infant commercial stage. In other words, been around for a while. Now it's gotten to a point where it can be commercialized. So this is its infant commercial stage. And of course, there's way much more about it that we don't know. But the jobs that I'm talking about, so while the bots will be writing code, you need managers to manage those bots. I know it sounds funny, right? But you need human managers because there's mistakes, there's errors, there's corrections, there's confirmation that it's being done right. My son says something that really caught me one time. Well, two things. If AI is like bouncing something off of a friend or a co-worker, or bouncing ideas, and you're spitballing ideas and you're coming up with an answer. Automation is if you want something repeated perfectly every time, use automation. AI, you use this other. And he also said, in that same conversation, he said, sometimes AI just has a freak out, and all of a sudden you start going down this horrible rabbit hole. And so you need humans to manage that. That's there's going to be a shift in job function. For instance, the old engineer jobs. Now, don't get me wrong. None of these other jobs are going away. They're going to be transformed in some way. We'll talk about it in a future time, at a future time. But the jobs, there was a shift. I don't know, 80s-ish, 90s-ish. There was a shift where people going into college or coming out of college started taking jobs, engineering jobs, in computer engineering versus like steel engineering, construction kind of engineering. There was a shift there, which actually hurts us a lot now because we're still very much in need of those assets, those technology capabilities, those people who are capable in those technologies. So there's that shift of job requirements that is starting to come about, but will be much more in the future. And there, I think, was this one. I think that one, she just pressures teens today too high compared to past generations. I think we hit on that pretty good already. James Show, I appreciate your input. This is Insights and Straight Talk. I'm your host. Oh, before I say that, on the 24th, we're going to do a little bit of a shift because a lot of our conversations has been a little bit about new food, new money, which, leans into the micro farming and the AI automation stuff. But we're going to take a little bit of we're going to open up the onion a little bit more, and we're going to build on that, and I want to use him as his family and how the pressures of being a parent, a provider, a family. He and his wife Lauren both work, and we'll get into all this. I'm sending him some notes. I probably won't have time to do it today. Yeah, I got to be out of here in 8 minutes. I won't do it today, but I'm sending him an email of kind of an outline of how, and that's on Monday the 24th. I'm really excited about this. I couldn't sleep last night. I was thinking about the show the whole night, and this thought came about, and so I want to talk and open up about the generation that has spawned the Emmas of the world, and what they're going through, because they're going through a very transitional but difficult time in today with the economy and the whole thing, and how they handle the pressures of needing two incomes and all sorts of things we'll get into. So it's not going to be quite the same shows that we've done in the past, but about the same generation, about their generation, about how the struggles they go through. And that's what we do here on Insights and Straight Talk. And I'm your host, Rodd Duff, alongside every show, which you'll see her here in a second. And you saw her in the opening. My guide, my confidant, and my arm to lean on, my shoulder to lean on. But with that, I'm Rodd Duff. I'm your host, and I'm out.
Before you leave, if you'd like to watch another one of the podcasts, click the first link in the description. We love having you here, and we appreciate all your support.
And with that, producer Barbie and I are out.
Click the